All right, today we're going to start by multiplying binomials. Okay, so multiplying binomials. Up until now, we've done a monomial times, so we did like 3x times 3x, or 3x squared. We did x times 2x plus 1. So we multiplied a monomial by something, either by another binomial or by a binomial or another monomial. Now we're going to be multiplying binomials together. So that means we're going to be multiplying expressions with two terms by each other. This is going to require us to expand the box, and we're going to have a combining like terms that we end up having to do as well. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go out to our tiles, and we're going to be, remember, we want to make sure that we set ourselves up into factor mode. So remember, you like if you're on iPad, you have to hold it down, and instead of free play mode, we want to be on factor mode. Okay, but we're already there, so hopefully it'll okay, we're just going to put factor mode. Okay, there we go. Okay, so since we're doing the one that we said we were going to do is x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to put, obviously, it doesn't matter where I place them because they're both the same thing. But if they were different factors, it wouldn't matter whether I put which one. I don't have to put the first one in one place and the second one in the other. I just have to make sure that they're all up there. Whoopsie. So I have an x plus 3 up here, and I have an x plus 3 here. And we're only going to tile one example, and then we're going to do the box for the rest of them. Okay. Now that I've got x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, well, x times x is x squared. Okay, x times 3 is 3x. And again, we need to turn these sideways. And right now, you don't understand why this matters, but I promise you, having the tiles facing the right direction, it actually does matter later on when we start to factor. Okay. Now, we did x times x, we did 3 times x. Now we're going to do x times 3, which is 1, 2, 3 x's. And then I'm going to do 3 times 3, which is, oh my gosh, seriously, so many tiles. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, whoopsie, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's just annoying me, and 9. Okay, so this is our tile. We know that it's right because if we look, if we kind of like drew like an imaginary box in it, x times x is x squared, 3 times x is 3x, x times 3 is 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now all we do to find our answers, we count up what we have down there. Well, I have an x squared. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's. It doesn't matter whether they're sitting sideways or sitting on their feet. It doesn't matter if I'm laying on the floor or standing on my feet. I'm still Maggie. It doesn't matter if I'm, if it's laying down or standing up, it's still an x. So I have x squared and plus 6x plus 9. So the solution to this is x squared plus 6x plus 9. Well, we get the exact same answer whether we use tiles or the box. Okay? So hopefully you were following along and tiling that. I want to try another problem. Actually, I want to try the same exact problem, but instead of using tiles, we're going to use the box to solve it. Okay? So since I have a binomial which has 2 terms and another binomial which has 2 terms, that means I need a 2 by 2 box. So I'm going to draw myself a 2 by 2 box. And maybe yours doesn't need to be this big, but this is how I like it. And I'm going to put x plus 3. Remember, I'm doing each term, right? So in here, I have an x and a plus 3. In here, I have an x and a plus 3. And again, it doesn't matter where I put them. In this case, it really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to start multiplying. Okay, so I have x times x is x squared. 3 times x is 3x. X times 3 is also 3x. And 3 times 3 is positive 9. And I'm going to put plus signs on, or minus signs on all of these. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that. Okay, x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. Now notice, if I look, I've got like terms right here in the middle. They also are right here in my model. So I'm just going to combine those terms. So I have an x squared and 6 x's and 9, which is the exact same answer as I got right there. Okay? Let's try another one. This time, I want you to try this one. Okay, the next one that we're going to try, we're going to put 2 more on this page. The next one we're going to try is a little trickier. 3x minus 7 times x plus 4. Remember, I have 2 terms by 2 terms, so my box needs to be 2 by 2. So take a moment and see if you can figure out what the answer to this question is. Remember, if you need to do an exponent 2, you can just do the little caret 2, or you can do squared. Okay, take a moment. All right, so I'm going to draw myself a box. Again, you can draw it as big as you need to. Take up as much space as you want to. It doesn't matter where I put the 3x minus 7. I chose to put it up here. You could have put it down here. If you did, you'll wind up in the same place as I do. Okay? We'll get the same answer. Remember, the sign goes with the term. It doesn't go in the middle. It goes with the term. Okay? So I'm going to put my invisible 1 here because remember, we're going to do buckets. We're going to multiply all of our same things together. 3 times 1 is 3. X times x is x squared. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7, and those are x's. 3 times 4 is 12 x's. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Okay? Now, I'm going to combine these terms. If you want to rewrite them, 3x squared minus 7x plus 12x minus 28, you can. If you can see right here that the difference between 12 and negative 7 is 5, that's fine too. Either way, we're going to combine these terms and we get 3x squared plus 5x minus 28. And that is the solution to this problem. All right, let's try one more. And then we're going to try a tricky one, and then we'll be done. Okay, let's try negative x plus 3 times 2x minus 10. Okay, take a moment, set up your box, and solve that one. All right, so for my box, once again, it doesn't matter where you put each term as long as they're both on one side. We don't put them on this side, we put them up here. Okay, that's going to matter later too, but we need to put them up here. That really makes a difference, okay? So I'm going to make this negative 1x, just because you know I like my invisibles, to keep me from being confused, and this is 2x minus 10. Okay, so I'm going to start multiplying. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. X times x is x squared. 3 times 2 is 6, and those are x's. Negative 1 times negative 10 is positive 10 x's. 3 times 10 is negative 30. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. I have 2x squared, negative 2x squared plus 16x minus 30. Okay? Now, I'm going to set one up next, and I want you to see if you can figure out what goes in each of the missing boxes. Okay? This one's a little tricky, so, just watch. So this time we're going to actually go the other direction. Okay? So I'm going to give you a box that's partially filled in, and I want you to see if you can figure out what goes in the missing spaces. So I have a plus 5 here, and an x here, a 2x squared, and a negative 5. I'm going to do the first one for you to kind of model what it looks like, and then I'm going to let you try one on your own. Okay? So if I look at this, I know that to get here, to get this term, I had to take this one times this one. Well, if this times something is 2x squared, well, if I look, it has to be, the only way I can get 2 is 1 times 2 is 2. X times x is x squared. Okay? So far, so good? Okay. I also know that I have to take positive 5 and multiply it by something that's going to get me negative 5. Well, positive 5 times negative 1 gets me negative 5. So now that I've kind of worked backwards, I can fill everything else in and I can get the solution. So 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. 5 times 1x is 5x. When I combine the terms, I get 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. So what I would write for my answer is, I would say 2x plus 5 times x minus 1 equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. I know, right? If you need to rewatch it, please do. I want you to try this one now. This one is, I don't think it's that hard, but let's see what you think. Okay? So here's all the information I'm going to give you, and I want you to see if you can work backwards and fill in the box. You have an x here, an x squared here, a positive 4x here, and a negative 7 out there. Okay, take a minute and see if you can figure out what goes in the spaces. Actually, tell me instead, this is what I want as your final answer. Tell me that as your final answer. Okay, so when I look at this, I see that x times something is x squared. Well, x times x is x squared. Over here, I see that 4 times x times something is 4x. Well, x times positive 4 is positive 4x. Now that I filled in those missing spaces, I have everything I need to fill in the rest of the box. Negative 7x, negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. So I get, as my answer, x plus 4 times x minus 7 is x squared minus 3x minus 28. Tomorrow in class, the expectation is that you will practice using the box. I know some of you have learned FOIL or algebraic distribution from your parents, but we need to understand this strategy. When we come back later and we start factoring, you are going to need to understand the box inside and out in order to be successful at the next strategy that we're going to learn, which is factoring. So please, even though you may think, oh, I don't want to do this, just do it for me, okay? I need you to practice with this method. All right? I will be back on Monday. You guys have a wonderful day. See you later.